This 2024 election prediction is between Mr. Beat and Ron DeSantis. If you accidentally clicked on this video thinking that it was Mr. Beast, click off immediately. Mr. Beat is a history YouTuber. If you know, you probably know Mr. Beat if you clicked on this. So, he's facing off against Ron DeSantis. Now, I put him in the as a Democrat, right? Because, well, if I had to choose, I would personally believe that Mr. B is registered as an independent. I really think so. If I had to choose, he just kind of seems like that independent kind of type guy. But he does lean to the left. He has said this, he has said that he has become more liberal. I guess that doesn't necessarily mean that he is shifting to the left, but because it could be really far to the right. But he's not really a big Trump fan. We can just say that. So I really if I did put him as an independent, he wouldn't win any states, right? So, but if he's a Democrat, then Democrats who just don't want Ron DeSantis in office will vote for him, even if he doesn't have experience or anything, right? So let's get into it. Mr. Beat will carry states like California, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New York, Maine's first, and Illinois solidly, and along with Hawaii. These will not shift. These are the solid states for the Democratic Party. Now, Oregon could be solid, but at this point in time, Biden's unpopularity is going to hurt any Democrat. No, Mr. B is not affiliated with the Biden administration at all. It will hurt any Democrat. So I really do think Oregon will just be under that 15% margin. By the way, till states will be 1% or less margin. Lean will be 1 to 5% margins. Likely will be 5 to 15%, and solid will be 15% or over. So just so you know. Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska at large, Nebraska's first and Nebraska's third, are all going to be solid for Ron DeSantis. Remember, Ron DeSantis is going to turn out Trump supporters, a lot of very Trumpian Republicans. He will turn out many people wanting him for 2024. He'll win states like Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, and South Carolina. I really could see him making a South Carolina in that solid column. West Virginia and Indiana, I do think would all be solid for Ron DeSantis. Sorry, Mr. B, but really, I don't see him turning out that Obama coalition, that diverse Obama coalition made up of many minorities, as much as Joe Biden did in 2020, right? Because there was such an anti-Trump vote in 2020. There won't be as much of that in 2024 because, in this scenario, because DeSantis is nominee and DeSantis isn't Trump. Sure, he's similar to Trump, but he's not Trump. Plus, because of Biden's unpopularity, right? There will be more anti-Biden sentiment than anti-Trump sentiment in this matchup, right, in 2024, and really in many of these scenarios. So really, I don't see Mr. B turning out the Obama coalition as much as Biden did in 2020 because Mr. B has never done anything to help the minorities of America in any way. They turned out for Joe Biden in 2020 because Biden had worked with Obama and that Obama coalition, that key Obama coalition. Biden was vice president under Obama. They worked together directly, right? So really, I don't see Mr. B turning out minorities as much as Biden did in 2020. I see states like Florida. Plus, this is Ron DeSantis' home state, and ever since 2008, it's been shifting to the right. So I do think Florida will go to Ron DeSantis, their governor. I think Georgia is going to flip back into that Republican column. I think it's going to be a bit more than 2%. Excuse me. And I also think North Carolina, by a lean margin, is going to go to Ron DeSantis. This was a Trump state in 2020, along with Florida. Georgia was not, but it was extremely close. All right. The minority thing. Again, that goes for Texas as well. I think Mr. B would do worse here than Biden did in 2020, even though it is just shifting to the left a little bit year by year. Maine at large will be likely for Mr. B, but Maine 2nd District will be likely for Ron DeSantis. I do think so. Okay. Now we get into the fun states. I really should have categorized Iowa and Ohio before. I really do see Mr. Beat doing well in the state of Ohio. This is a state with many suburbs, and I really see Mr. Beat connecting, affiliating with the parents of suburbs in Ohio, because Mr. Beat is from Kansas, and he actually will make the state of Kansas likely for Ron DeSantis. I would say likely. I really don't see Mr. Beat flipping the state of Kansas. I think it will stay for the Republicans, probably over 7%. But I really do see Mr. B doing well in Ohio. He's a common man, and that's what Ohio parents want. I see Ohio going to Ron DeSantis by a lean margin. Mr. B will make some attempt here, but seeing how little shifted to the left in 2020, it shows that, well, Ohio, it's going farther away from that Democratic column. In the state of Virginia, again, I really see Mr. B resonating with the parents of the state, like Ohio. I think Mr. B could win it by a likely margin, even though, really Biden's unpopularity will hurt him in the state of Virginia, as showed in the 2021 gubernatorial race here. It really does make a difference. But it will stay in the Democratic column. Alaska, I think, would go to Ron DeSantis by a likely margin. I don't think we're going to see a major shift here. New Mexico and Colorado, I think, would go to Mr. Beat by both likely margins. These are states that went to Hillary in 2016 and went to Biden in 2020. These are Democratic states. Biden's unpopularity will hurt him definitely in Colorado and New Mexico. I really could see both of these states going for Mr. Beat by a lean margin. But overall, I really do think that they will stick to him by a likely margin. I see both candidates doing well in the state of Arizona. This is a extremely battleground type state. It really is. Along with the state of Nevada here. Nevada, not so much battleground. But really, because of Biden's unpopularity, we are going to see a turn for the Republicans, right? Good news for the Republicans here, right? So, Arizona, I really do see going to Ron DeSantis by a tilt margin. Both candidates are going to do well here, but just Democrats will stay home for Mr. B, right? Not because of Mr. B, but because of the president's unpopularity. I do think Arizona would be tilt DeSantis. In Nevada, I think this would be an extremely close state. I really do. The thing is, there's less suburbs here. And suburbs is where Mr. B is going to do very, very well. And he's going to do well in the Rust Belt, right? This is Nevada. I really do think at this point in time, Nevada is going to be tilt for Ron DeSantis because there's more cities here. There's not a lot of suburbs where it's packed with parents and families who will turn out for the common man, who will turn out for Mr. B, who really represents them. There's not a lot of that. Plus, it's a gambling state. Mostly, I just say that because of Las Vegas, really, not really anywhere else, but Las Vegas makes up very much of the population, right? So I think Nevada will be tilt Ron DeSantis. I think this would be a very close state, but just because there's not suburbs like there are in Arizona, Ohio, Virginia, I think it's going to go to Ron DeSantis. Minnesota, I think it's going to be lean for Mr. B, just because Biden's unpopularity will hurt him here. I don't see it happen, or I don't see Ron DeSantis really coming that close here. I think it will go to Mr. B, especially saying that Hillary won in 2016. I see Mr. B doing pretty well in Nebraska second. This is a district with many with many families, right, where Mr. B really will connect to them. Plus, it's extremely close to his home state of Kansas. He really will connect with these voters here, with those parents. He will turn out. Plus, they have the same kind of climate and jobs. He really will connect with these voters here. Along with in New Hampshire, this is a state where he really will resonate with the voters here. I think he could win it by a likely margin, but the president's unpopularity will be costly in the state of New Hampshire. I'll give it to him by a lean margin, but I really do think it could be close to 5%. Moving on to the state of Pennsylvania. Biden's unpopularity is really going to hurt him in the Rust Belt. However, the Rust Belt is known for suburbs. Pennsylvania, Michigan, not so much Michigan, but overall yes, but mostly Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Mr. B will do well in. The most conservative state in the blue wall is the state of Wisconsin. This really is the most likely state to go to Ron DeSantis. I really do think so. The Michigan minority population is really what carries Democrats to victory here, and as I said before, I don't think Mr. B will do very well really reuniting that Obama coalition. So, and the fact that there aren't many suburbs here, I could see Michigan going tilt for Ron DeSantis. But I could see it going to lean Mr. B or tilt Mr. B as well. This is hard. How about we start in the state of Pennsylvania? I think in Pennsylvania, Mr. B will win. There are many suburbs here. He will connect with the voters here, and Biden's unpopularity will hurt him, and it would definitely be a lean margin on the DeSantis or B, whatever way. In the state of Michigan, this is a Democratic area, and we do have to remember there was very much anti-Trump sentiment here in 2020, because this was a Trump state in 2016, but we really didn't know how he was going to do, and many people just voted for him for fun. So Michigan will be pretty hard, but just because there is that anti-Trump sentiment, I think it would be tilt Mr. B. Now, Wisconsin, on the other hand, I will have to give it to Ron DeSantis by a tilt margin. It's the most conservative state here, and just because of Biden's unpopularity, it's as simple as that. Biden's unpopularity is going to hurt him in the state of Wisconsin, and it will be tilt for Ron DeSantis. So, that wraps up today's video. Unfortunately, Ron DeSantis just narrowly is carried to victory. With 275 electoral votes, only 5 more than he needs, to Mr. Beat's 263. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the Political Chatter, but also subscribing to Mr. B. He really does cool videos about various topics. He used to teach social studies. I don't know if he does anymore. Anyway, so here's the final map. Got a good look at it, and yeah, make sure to subscribe to me and to Mr. B.